this is Shani from Baker Creek, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about garlic. I want to give you guys the breakdown on the varieties of garlic that are available, because we may not know it because you only typically see a few types represented in grocery stores, but there are actually tons of different kinds of garlic. And right now is a great time to decide what kind of garlic you're going to grow in your garden, because it will depend on your location and your flavor preferences and how you like to prepare your garlic, which variety is the best choice. I encourage you guys to do some research. Think about your specific growing climate, what your winters are like. Think about it. Garlic is going to be in the ground from about October, November until July. It's going to have to sit in your ground over winter. So think about how harsh your winters are, how many cold days you typically get, and how long your winter lasts, the type of moisture that your garden gets in the winter. All these are going to help you make a really good decision for which variety to grow. There are so many reasons to integrate garlic into your garden. First of all, the plants themselves actually have pest repelling qualities, so they will ward off certain pests in the garden just because of their pungent smell. And that pungent smell is actually indicative of strong medicinal properties. So when you're eating garlic cloves, you're actually getting the chemical allicin, which is really great for your immune system. It's anti-inflammatory and it's potent with antioxidants. So it's a highly medicinal plant. It's been used for centuries, actually much longer as a medicinal plant and as a culinary ingredient. And so I want to teach you guys a little bit more so that you can really get the best garlic crop possible. Soft-neck garlics are a mild flavored type. They have these soft tops that are great for braiding. If you like garlic braiding, you'll want to choose a soft-neck variety. Soft-neck varieties are ideal for Mediterranean climates or climates with a more mild winter and less chill hours over the winter. Alternatively, if you're a northern grower and you really want some braiding garlic, you can grow soft necks. You just want to maybe plant them in a warmer microclimate in your garden, and be wary that the drainage is the biggest issue with soft neck garlics grown up north. So a really well drained area is going to be best for your garlic up north. It's the wet feet in that cold, wet winter that will really damage a soft neck garlic for you northern growers. So try your soft neck garlic if you are a warm Mediterranean climate, if you have a warmer winter, or if you can find well-drained soil up north. So when we take a closer look, we can see that it's got this soft top. Something that's really important to know about soft neck garlics is they store for much longer. The reason their storage life, which can be up to a year, in fact, you'll often be relying on your soft neck varieties to get you into all the way through the year until you're harvesting the next year's crop. But look at how many layers of paper there are to these varieties. Look how difficult it is to peel this. It's so much work. It's a lot more work than a Campbell or a Hardneck variety. And because it's a lot of work, this is actually why it's a better storage garlic, because it's well preserved and it doesn't let air in to spoil the cloves. So it's worth it. It's worth the extra effort to go through and peel this more difficult garlic, because it's going to store for much longer. So if you're looking for a long storage variety, try a soft neck. There are two different kinds of soft neck varieties. There are artichoke types and there are silver skin types, but they're both known to be a lot more mild than the hard neck varieties. So they've got a more sweet flavor, less pungent. Yeah, you can eat it fresh, no problem. And if you want the secret to braiding, making beautiful braids of garlic, you have to watch our YouTube video. Anna Marie, one of the lovely girls here at Baker Creek, she braided these garlics, and she actually did a tutorial video where she teaches you step by step. I have tried making garlic braids. It's not very difficult, but I'm no artist, so they're not as cool as these ones. And she's done some really incredible work, so be sure to check that out. So then we have hardneck garlics. These are typically better adapted to northern climates. They have a stiff stalk rather than a soft stalk, so they're less ideal for braiding. However, one of my favorite parts about hardneck garlics is that they create a scape. And garlic scapes are the stem of the garlic. It comes up typically in your garden. It can range depending on your location, but around May, June, that's usually when your garlic scape will come up. And to me, garlic scapes taste like a garlicky green bean. They're more mild than the actual cloves themselves, and they've got this beautiful crunchy texture, and they're just great when you stir fry them in a pan. I love to pickle garlic scapes, or you can make them into pesto. Garlic scape pesto is incredible. So one of the greatest side benefits of a hardneck garlic is those scapes. And if you are to let your scapes continue to mature, which I don't recommend, you typically want to cut off your garlic scapes because they're going to send more energy to producing the bulb if you cut the scape off. But if you were to let your scapes go, they're going to form these bulbills. It's not quite a true flower. These are actually small clones, identical genetic clones of the cloves themselves. But in nature, what would happen was the stems would get heavy, they would knock over, and these bulbills would root themselves, and that's how the plant would propagate. And you can plant these small bulbills, but you typically don't get several chambers of garlic. You'll just get one big hunk of garlic. It's kind of funky, actually. And the bulbills are really beautiful to look at too. These are actually quite ornamental, but again, I will caution against letting your scapes start to flower because it's going to take energy away from forming these nice big bulbs, and you don't want that. So definitely cut those scapes and use them before they start to really open up, flower, and bloom. There are many subgroups within the hardneck garlic variety, and one is a rocambole. And the rocambole is known to be one of the tastiest types of garlic. They're really easy to peel. They have a short storage life, only about 6 months, but they're so fantastic. They're great for baking whole. They're really flavorful and complex. One variety of rocambole that's known to be really hearty and tasty is Russian red, and it's got some nice purple streaking on it. And you always know you have a rocambole when it forms its scape, because the scape, many garlic scapes, most garlic scapes, are either going to grow straight in the air or they're going to maybe have a little curve to them. But a rocambole garlic is going to have 2 full loops. It's going to make 2 circles like a roller coaster. So that's when you know you have a rocambole. Another garlic variety that is beloved are the porcelain type garlics. One in particular is called Music, and it's going to have a beautiful white skin and super smooth parchment around the bulb. Purple striped varieties are some of the best for baking whole, and there are a few varieties that we offer. Look at that beautiful purple, and see how easy this is to peel? That's because it's a hardneck. The hardnecks, like I mentioned, much easier to peel than soft necks. So don't be surprised when the storage life of this kind of garlic is shorter. This is going to be more like 8 months. And then there are the Creole type hardnecks, and those are originally from Spain, and they're a great choice if you are a more mild climate grower, but you want to try a hardneck. Maybe you really want to get scapes. You've been hearing about all your northern gardening friends and their delicious garden scapes, and you're having a little scape envy. Try a Creole variety, and a great one that we offer is Moroccan red. And finally, elephant garlic, which actually isn't a garlic at all. It's technically and botanically a leek, although it does look like just a super giant garlic. And this one's fairly easy to peel, and it's got a super mild flavor, closer to that of leeks than of garlic, which does also indicate that it's a little bit less potent in its medicinal qualities. So if you really want a more medicinal variety, try one of the smaller hardnecks, especially some of the red hardnecks. Those are really pungent. With the elephant garlic, it's going to be a bit more mild, much more mild, but you're going to get way more bang for your buck because this is a huge clove of garlic. So when planning to plant your garlic, take into account a few factors. First of all, the best time to plant your garlic is after your soil has been exposed to a light frost. Now that's not hard and fast. You don't have to let your soil freeze or frost beforehand. It just adds a bit of a growing advantage. So if you are able to plan your garlic planting for in most zones between zones 5 and zone 7, maybe November, that's a great time. Early November, typically your soil has seen a little bit of cold, but then maybe it's bounced back a little bit warmer and the soil is not frozen solid. That's a great time to plant your garlic. Now, maybe you're not afforded the luxury of a light frost and then a warm up again, and you just need to get that garlic in before the soil freezes. In that case, get your garlic in before the soil freezes. So time your planting as best you can according to that light frost in the soil, and be sure not to jump the gun and plant it too early. That's important. You don't want it to get going and grow green early in the season. Don't plant it in August. That's too early. But you are going to want to pre-order your garlic bulbs now. So get to planning. Think about which variety is going to be best for your location depending on whether you have a mild winter or a harsher winter. Harsher winters, grow that hardneck garlic. Milder winters, go for softneck. Whether you like a storage garlic or whether you like something that's got great flavor and is easy to peel, make those considerations before you decide which to buy. And don't forget, you can also mix and match and grow both softneck and hardneck and several subgroups within that in the same garden. There's no problem with that. And also, think about if you want garlic scapes, because those are going to be great if you do a hardneck. So there you have it. Now you know the difference between your soft necks, your hard necks, what is a row Campbell versus a porcelain versus a Creole. I hope you guys are a little bit more enlightened and can make a better choice about exactly what garlic you should grow in your garden and what for your kitchen.